bit of a correction there, or at least I think he holds a Tommy gun. I don't really know my guns well. But anyway, we do have here, so no level 1 cheese coming out from SAJ, not like in game 1. They spread out from that line of scrimmage. Going to just check out most of the entrance points. Entrance points, that's right. So anyway, so like I said, no level 1 cheese that we saw earlier in game number 1. I'm just going to spread out, check most of the points of entrance into the jungle, and I just feel that what we have here from both teams is that they're just going to start off their regular jungle rounds.
Right, and Green Tea here once again going for that Doran shield start. We have seen that when he was playing Leona in the last game, but in the sense, when you compare both Leona and Alistair, you do have a good amount of initiation techniques to go in with the headbutt and the pulverized combo, but I would have to say consistently Leona should have the better engaged tools there. So I think that Doran Shield is just to make sure that he is able to stay in lane, sit in that lane, and try to repel away any form of initiation coming in from Junie in that sense. And Junie once again going for those gold generating items from the start, and this time around with that early, he will be forming that into that early Targon's Brace later on, and that should be able to, you know, generate some good amount of gold for Archie in that sense.
Well, we do have here Garnet Devil and Junie just meeting each other face to face. Junie takes 2 hits from his pistol in itself, and what we have here is, I like to kind of look into the later stages of the game, Chris, because earlier we saw the HQ team completely outskilled SAJs coming into the late game. What about this game?
Well, they do have that late game insurance in the Trinamir, because, you know, for the most part, I remember when I was playing Trinamir in the top lane, you do have a lot of damage in the late game when you get your critical strikes up as well. So you can even solo Baron in that perspective. And now we do see Junie taking a whole lot of damage from the combination of Green Tea and Garnet Devil, so being the lane bully that they like to be. So we do see that slightly more aggressive and that hyper aggressive start from HQ Esports, and something that that I pretty much like as well.
Yeah, Archie as well as Junie need to be extremely careful here, because once Green Tea gets his headbutt pulverized combo come in level 2, and it's going to be very scary, because we saw how at the level 1 stage he was able to kind of zone out both Archie as well as Junie, but both Archie and Junie doing a very good job. Actually, they are the first pair to hit level 2, so they're going to have that slight aggression coming in the bot lane for themselves.
Right, I like that skin from Vinty as well, just making him look even tougher than he is already. And between Pride and QTV up in the top lane, I feel like it will take a while for any form of skirmish to happen, and in the sense QTV should be able to regen himself pretty well with that Q charge on his end. And now we do see Ness hanging around the sidelines as well.
That's right, the moment we have Junie as well as Archie in the complete opposition, the initiate goes in, the counter initiate is going to come in very shortly as well. Junie gets hit, but all the way to the side, the isolation will be the one to come in now, and now that flash comes out from Junie, the flash as well as the leap coming in, the exhaust immediately comes out. Safety on the sidelines, going in for the counter initiate once more. Nas gets taken out very low, goes in for the repel, a great pulverize and knocks Safety into the fray. Safety taken out very low. He's in a lot of danger of losing his double buffs there, but it does seem that both junglers were in the vicinity to do something about their bot lane. I feel that the lane of contention in this game, I said it in the pick and ban phase, that the bot lane is a kill lane for both of these teams just because of how much CC their support has, and that was just a classic example of how aggressive these teams, at least how aggressive we expect these teams to be.
I think I just broke out in cold sweat there in respects to both teams. You know, they're just living life dangerously, as I like to call it. So at first it was a little bit of misposition from Junie that he went in with the Zenith Blade, and you know, we saw Junie fly right back into turret range for HQ Esports Club there, and you know, they almost got him in the process, but great counter movement from Safety there, as we do see now Westall putting on a good amount of pressure onto Optimus there, so he will be forcing him back away from the lane there.
Yeah, something I don't really have much expertise in is the mid lane matchup, because Kassadin doesn't really do well in lane. That I understand, but now that I think about it, Gragas is not a race champion, and that's just gonna give Westlaw that little bit of leeway to kind of duke it out in lane. With Gragas, he's able to, I don't know whether Westlaw has that move speed, Quince, but if he does actually stack them in, he's kind of able to maneuver around the barrels, go in, and we just saw he managed to zone out Optimus.
Right, that was a very very dubious call indeed, because I thought for sure that Saigon Jokers might want to make use of this little advantage that they have to send both Archie and Junie into a 2v1 matchup, as we now see Grinty flash into the fray.
Yeah, that's right. Junie has to use the Zenith Blade to try to reposition himself. It does seem that he may be able to get out. First blood goes in. Garner Devil goes into the flash and auto attack to pick up that kill. Archie will try to trade some auto attacks back and forth. We do have a roam coming in from Optimus. He has hit level 5, doesn't have level 6 just yet. So no exploding cars from the mid lane of Saigon Jokers.
And SAJ Price actually pop the Ignite. TV will pop the Ignite onto Price there. It does feel like the health pod should be able to save Price there in the process.
That's right, QTV has that natural regeneration coming in from him, and we do have safety Optimus as well as Archie try to pull off a sneaky dragon, but HQ will be there to kind of respond to that turret, that objective pressure coming in from Saigon Jokers.
Oh, and QTV going all ham over here.
That's right, he does have his ultimate, so he has Undying Rage. Pride's not yet at level 6, and then range minion auto attack unable to take him down. He has only 50 over health left, and Westall was thinking of going in, but he didn't really have that rift. He does have that rift wall, but doesn't have so much mobility just yet to completely go in. Optimus here gets the body slam in, the rift wall comes out from Westall. Doesn't pull off that combination. Green Tea gets hit by the stun, the Sunlight passive gets procced, and just a little bit of trade going back and forth from both teams.
Right, so I have to give it to Optimus once again. He often finds himself in a position that when he's pressured away by the opposition mid laner, he manages to find that little gap to bring himself back into this game. We saw just about a couple of minutes in, he was sitting at a very huge CS deficit, but he has managed to close that gap, and now it's only an 8 CS advantage for Westall at this point of time. But we always have to remember that Kassadin, if you give him all this free lane farm, not free lane farm, all this free lane in the lane, then he will be scaling into mid-game very comfortably, and that's not a position where you want to face off a Kassadin again.
Yeah, I've heard mid-lane players tell me, if you pick Kassadin in a game, all you need to do is go even in lane, and effectively, you've done your mission for the laning phase. And Westall at this point of time, I would say he's doing much more than just going even in lane against Optimus.
Right, and given there's so much pick-up potential between both Nest and Westall, that is a very worrying sign for SAJ to say the least, but at least for the top lane, QTV is doing quite well for himself now. Out-damaging Price as well and out-CSing him in the process, so finishing up the build Water Cutler as well.
Yeah, that's right, the build Water Cutlass is already done on the side of QTV on Tryndamere, but Price may be deciding to go back and pick up some items, maybe a boost or speed to allow him to kind of do it out against QTV in itself. And look at this SAJ playing the aggressors here. Safety is able to kind of just smite steal away that red buff, and they're just going to easily transition with that 4-man onto their blue buff in their own jungle, something a lot safer for them, and they're just going to pass it off to Optimus in the mid lane. So great play calling coming in from the side of Saigon Jokers, able to counter jungle away the red buff from Nas.
But I thought it was a very risky moment as well. Should HQ have the resources to go for Dragon, but in that sense, HQ decided to play safe there. They didn't want to risk anything down in the Dragon Pit, so overall it's a win for Saigon Jokers over there. But like we mentioned, it is a ticking time bomb, especially for Westall down the mid lane. And now we do see him roaming up to the top lane over here. Let's see an engage come down soon, but Price is now shoving the lane really hard, so we see Optimus as well as Safety now come in response to that one.
Yeah, that's right. We do have the rotations coming in. The Dragon Form comes out from Price, and now QTV may decide to go in onto this one. Optimus is actually onto the flank here. He has his explosive cast up just at this point of time. He will manage to knock Price into the wall, but I don't think QTV as well as Safety was in range at all for that attempt there. So they do push Price out of the lane, but nevertheless, the gank attempt didn't really work out.
Right, and in the meantime, we do see Ness and Westlaw having the liberty to just shove out the mid lane, once again creating the pressure that Westlaw will need to roam down to this bottom lane. We might see Archie and Julie in a little bit of trouble, but instead they will just move into the jungle area for Saigon Jokers at this point of time.
Yeah, they're gonna go in the long route here through the enemy jungle itself and pick up the white camp coming in as having second thoughts about that one. Doesn't want to get pincered in by Junie and Archie as well as Safety. And there we have it, that little trip to the jungle is not really going to work out. Prize is getting a very strong coming into the level 9 stages. QTV may not be able to deal with the amount of magic damage that Prize actually is able to put out at this point of time in the game.
So I have to say there's a little bit of hesitation for HQ Esports Club in the early stages, and I guess it's understandable in the sense that between both Ness and Westlaw, they don't really have a lot of combat stats being achieved here.
Yeah, and there we have an initiation coming in. Ghana level taken out extremely low, and a nice hit but knocks Junie into the turret. Safety wasn't there in time to kind of follow up onto that CC combination. It wasn't able to layer that CC, and in the mid lane in itself, Optimus doing a fantastic job. And there we have that CC coming in from the side of SAJ in itself. Junie tanks a few turret hits, now Safety is the one tanking it, pulls up the repel, he does come down the aggro, switches onto the minions now, and a rotation coming in from the mid lane as well as the jungler of HQ. Archie as well as Safety in a bunch of trouble now. Safety will go down onto this one. Yes, he does. Archie is able to get out of that one, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade in the bot lane. QTV as well as Price now. QTV actually forced Price to use his ultimate at that point of time. He will go in. The Ignite is now taking the wall of flash coming out of that one. The Undying Rage will be able to allow QTV to survive that one, and now Price in a little bit of trouble. Both top laners still happy to stay on in the top lane. Once the Dragon Form goes down, I don't know if QTV will decide to continue to fight this one out though, but it's gonna be very scary for the top laners in itself. He needs to get the stacks off his Fury a bit so that he can actually pop his Q and get in a little bit of the heal in itself, but nevertheless both top laners showing each other some respect there.
Yep, showing respect, but Optimus is just lurking right around the corner here as we do see Archie and Junie trying to siege down, and now Westlaw moving and jumping to the top lane as well. Might want to go for that counter gank over here.
Yeah, that's right. He wants to go in and get onto QTV. Whoa, the Rift Wall may not be able to do it because Optimus does have his explosive cast and knocks Westlaw away. So good guy Optimus saving QTV to see the light another day.
Right, and at this point of time, Westlaw is already pressuring the sidelines for Saigon Jokers a fair bit, as we did see him pick up the first kill dump at the bottom lane and now moving to the top lane. So this is just a preview to what we can see Westlaw's skill up into. And you know, between that and Ness, we might see Saigon Jokers, they need to really control these two snowballing champions.
Yeah, so not much action happening here, but now as I say that, a headbutt into the wall combo with the Pulverize will chunk Junie down to about half HP. The little piercing light at the same time will force Junie to blue pill back and go home and shot.
Right, the Relic Shield is still on Junie at this point of time, not completing the targets just yet, so he just wants to finish up the vision control here, and rightfully so, because he is not in a rush to build up that target base, and now Safety taking away his own red buff. And in that sense, we have seen very good movement coming in from safety, but he needs more. He needs even better movements. He needs to secure those kills happen, because at this point of time, Westlaw is looking pretty good. Even though Optimus has a very significant CS advantage of about 15 right now, but they really need to control Westlaw. If not, he's just gonna move into the mid game to be really unstoppable in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, the story of game number 2 is, whoa, we do have some action coming in. Westlaw getting chunked down to less than half health from a 2-spell rotation coming from Optimus. Does manage to get his explosive cast out as well as that little barrel roll there. And now we do have Prize coming in. Westlaw there, just complete amazing rotation coming in, the undying rage now keeps QTV alive for quite a bit, but the Ignite will be able to take him down there.
But that's the frustrating thing though, but in return, Saigon Jokers, they will be able to pick up the Dragon for themselves, so in a sense, a bit of a distraction technique coming in from QTV there, so they will be happy to trade that 1-for-1, and with both Optimus and Safety in the mid lane now, Westlaw might be finding himself in some trouble.
That's right, Prize is able to deal some damage to this turret. I don't know if he will be able to kind of take this one down, but nevertheless, a 1-for-0 trade, and SAJ pick up Dragon in the meantime. So I just like to say that the story of this game has been Westlaw making the roam, but at the same time Optimus makes the exact same roaming path that Westlaw has taken, and that hasn't really resulted in any sort of kills yet. I mean, a few failed gank attempts, but nevertheless the mid laners have kind of been mirroring each other in the early stages of the game. The same could be said for the junglers. We saw that early gank come in. Naz was waiting in the sidelines, but at the same time Safety was just around the corner as well to respond to that one. So both teams kind of playing a little bit of mind games with each other, and Naz as well as Safety reading each other like a book. Westlaw as well as Optimus doing the same to each other.
Right, and you know, I'm looking at the item build for Ness at this point of time. He has gone for that early spirit of the ancient golem, because in that sense, usually I will try to question it and ask why is he going for health, but why is he not going out for straight damage. But in that sense, Saigon Jokers, they do have a lot of burst potential coming in from Optimus and a lot of lockdown coming in from Juni as well, so having that little bit of extra health should help him in the process, and the cocoon does not land on the Prize there.
That's right, so Safety does visit the top lane a little bit for some sort of gank. The little mocking shout comes out. Prize taken out extremely low. He does have his ultimate though, but he will not use the Dragon's Descent. Westlaw is on the sidelines. Optimus will be going in from the flank as well. A pink ward gets dropped down. The vision ward will kind of spot out that stealth ward and just take it away. So surprisingly, SAJ, or at least QTV, single-handedly just kind of forces Prize out of the lane and just takes down that top lane turret. So first turret of the game will go down to SAJ. First dragon of the game as well gets taken out by SAJ.
So that would put them at a good 1,000 advantage over here.
Wow, a great Zenith Blade, the max range Zenith Blade coming in, but the zone from Green Tea actually comes in, and the roam from Optimus, Garnet Devil taken down extremely low. He's not going to survive that one. Westlaw is on the side now. Prize gets taken down in the top lane as well by both Safety as well as QTV. So SAJ just immediately turn on the switch, gank both the top as well as the bot lane, and pick up 2 kills from themselves.
Right, so it was a very good moment for them to go in as well, because they managed to take up the top lane turret, and you know, Safety just came in from the jungle of Asian Esports Club, so they were unable to spot him out there. So 2 kills being secured respectively by both QTV as well as ahq. That will put them in a very comfortable position as we transit into the 20-minute mark.
That's right, so a little bit of a goal lead coming in from SAJ, and let's just kind of see how this goal lead pans out, because the items coming in from both teams are slowly getting picked up, and the Archangel Staff is the first major item that Westlaw decides to pick up. He has yet to ramp it up so far. He's 2-0-0 at this point of time, so he's kind of in a comfortable position, but Optimus showing how why he's kind of like the star of SAJ in my opinion. So he's just being able to farm up very effectively in the lane itself, and he's just doing an overall good job with the rotations as well.
But he might not have the best mobility, even though he does have that body slam up his own kit as well. Like he might not be as mobile as compared to Accident.
Yeah, that's right. We will see a replay of how Pride kind of got taken down in the top lane. Let's take you through this one.
Right, so Pride just got really low in this one, and now QTV will pop his ghost. Just a simple lock and chase down onto this one. So technical style guys, fanciful, and they were able to take Pride down in the process. So like I was saying, even though Optimus might not have the growth potential from Westall there, but he still has a lot of burst damage, and that is something that we have to remember.
Yeah, that's right. QTV just happy to tank up this turret here, and a fight breaks down the ball lane. Naz gets taken out extremely low. Archie is forced to flash away from that fight into the Dragon Pit in itself. The smoke screen comes out and tries to block it. We do have the remaining 3 members of SAJ make their rotation down and try to do some damage there. So not much of a fight coming. Oh, a fight comes into the bot lane, but not many kills at all. When we saw the replay earlier of Prides getting taken down in the top lane, we actually had SAJ invade the blue buff of AHQ, and this is why Archie is picking up their own blue buff. So 2 blue buffs on the side, Optimus being 1 stolen away from AHQ itself, and Archie is able to pick up 1 for himself from his own blue buff.
Right, so at this point of time, Saigon Jokers sitting at a good 3,000 gold lead. I would say that is a bigger gold lead from what we had seen from game number 1, and they're transiting rather well in this one. And because of those early kills that QTV had on himself, sorry, that one early kill that he had for himself and this performance that he has, he should be transiting. He might go into that Phantom Dancer or even that Static Shift. If he does go for that Static Shift, then I would say he has a bigger wave clear on his own end, which is something that he might want to look at because he wants to be that split pusher, applying pressure away at the sidelines here. And now QTV meets up with Pride once again, so applying a good amount of damage there.
Yeah, he has that red buff as well, that one being donated from his own jungle, and he just decides to go in and gives a few friendly hits onto Pride itself. We do have Westall onto the sidelines, and at the same time Optimus is just mirroring that one as well. The turret will go down on the side of AHQ Esports. SAJ will pick up the third turret of the game. Very good, very measured aggression coming in from SAJ this game number 2 here. So very pushing presence, something that I don't expect them to have, since Graves is not one of the best AD carries in terms of siege.
My only fear for them is only what happened in game number 1. I hope that doesn't happen because they are playing this really well, and once again taking out the dragon in the perspective, and the cocoon lands onto Naze there. He has to leap away from that one. So once again pressure from QTV as well as Optimus to pressure on this side lane, this top lane once again. So sitting at a good 5,000 gold lead now. I have to say, Saigon Jokers, they know they have a game plan coming into this one, and this shouldn't be a pick, you know, just working really well for them.
That's right. I mean, QTV is able, he's the kind of guy that draws a lot of attention to his lane, and being on Tryndamere just puts in that added aggression coming in. So what we have here is actually QTV just hammering onto the turret itself. Will he actually sacrifice himself for taking down that turret? He will pop his ghost. The missiles will not come out. He does tank a few shots of this turret. That Boy Walker will come in to try to take down QTV. The solar flare comes out, but isn't really able to take him down. The Undying Rage didn't get popped there. Didn't expect that burst combination to come out from Westall, I feel. So they do manage to take down the turret. That little bit of chasing kind of wasted some time, but AHQ seems to have grouped up 5 here. He's able to easily take down this mid lane turret itself.
Wow, and Westall jumping to the fray there.
That's right, so a big fight coming in. Naz gets exhausted. The collateral damage will not be able to pick him up. It does actually. I think it's the Ignite that managed to take him down, and it seems that they will force HQ to run away from that one. Green Tea taken down extremely low. He does use the pulverize to get close some distance. The flash cocoon, and there we have the execute coming in from safety. It's himself.
Right, it was almost like a very dubious call for Westlaw to jump into the fray in that one. You know, we know for a fact that Westlaw is a very aggressive player, but that was probably not the best decision to go in for that one. So, in terms, we did see the counter kill as we head into the replay to see exactly what happened. So, at first, HQ took down the turret. He went in with the Rift Walk to try to put on some damage, and HQ had to try to follow up onto that one. Optimus now putting a chunk of damage with the explosive cards. The Carly not really doing the best amount of damage there, so now Ness taking a whole ton of damage, but he will go down eventually to the Ignite pick there, and Optimus will pick that one up, and it was just a simple chase for safety, and Green Tea nearly got into safety there, but safety will be able to follow up with the execute.
Yeah, so here's what happened in that team fight in itself as I was watching the replay. We do have QTV as well as Price come in. Wow, Westlaw just lying in ambush there, and then he easily pick off QTV. He does not pop its Undying Rage once again, so I think he was just, he knew that he couldn't have gotten out of that team fight in itself. So he was just willing to go down for that one to maybe fight another day, I feel. But like I said in that team fight in itself, I feel that AHQ made the right call in going in because they had a 4v5 advantage. They were the 5 members because we already saw QTV go down earlier. And the fact that Junie didn't have its solar flare up, that's just another form of crowd control that SAJ didn't have. But the problem was we saw a great explosive cast come in. They managed to move and distribute the players of AHQ away, preventing 2 or 3 seconds worth of good damage. At the same time, Garner Devil popped his culling, which I felt that, you know, isn't really effective when it comes into the team fights, especially at the start of it. I felt that he would have done a lot more damage if he actually went in immediately, pulled off his spell rotation and put in some auto attacks instead of just throwing out the culling there.
Right, so it's almost like a push and pull effect there, and I have to say, man, Optimus is really good at controlling all this AoE combination right there. It's either the command shockwave or the explosive card, so great understanding of his champions there, and Dragon will be coming up in 2 minutes time as we do have a slight breathing space here, so Saigon Jokers once again holding on to that goal lead, 5.5 thousand in their favor, but I think once again it's the story of HQ, you know, just relying on Westlaw once again. 3 kills up on his belt, but this time it is Optimus with the CS advantage over here, sitting at a good close to 40 CS advantage. And now QTV now will be rolling it out with Prides up in the top lane, and we do see Saigon Jokers just grouping up in the mid lane trying to make the siege happen.
Yeah, so here we have mid lane turret being contested now. SAJ doesn't really have a lot of siege coming in. RG here just being able to put in 1 or 2 shots to that turret in itself. He does a lot better in team fights because of how his kit kind of works. QTB just being that split push Tryndamere, and how all Tryndamere should play, being that carry sort of jungler does spin away, and Aizen QTB is going to have that push pull effect like we were talking about earlier as well. So the siege was going to be a 4-man siege in the mid lane, and at the same time it's just going to be a duel in the top lane itself.
And actually Optimus being taken down to less than half of his HP there, so it's a call for Saigon Jokers to turn back and you know, pull away from this second tier turret for HQ Esports Club there.
That's right. The both coming out from this 4-man team of HQ in itself, and I really like to see what happened here in the top lane because Prize managed to push QTV all the way back to his own turret, and it does seem that the pressure is alleviating on the side of both SAJ or alleviating from AHQ, so SAJ is just going to back off from that one. Dragon will be up in 5 seconds, and it seems that that is the next point of contention. We may see Prize and QTV decide to go down, but we do have here SAJ just trying to set up a trap here. The sweeping lens will be used, but they don't realize that there's actually a ward at the back of the pit here. So they do not see that ward on the side of SAJ, and they'll be spending a good half a minute trying to camp in this brush. And you know, AHQ is not going to take the bait at all.
Right, but I think in a sense they were a little bit too lax as well. We do see Winky now teleporting away, and he is back in the home base. Then that is the call for Saigon Jokers to take away the Dragon. So once again extending that goal lead, 6,000 in their favor right now. And one thing I really have to question at this point of time is, you know, this build that Ness is going for. Sure, you want to go for that Spirit of the Golem to try to sustain up against this burst potential that Saigon Jokers have, but at the same time, you're not going to be the assassin that you want to be to lead into the fray, execute someone, and then jump back right out. He doesn't necessarily have the damage to do that, because at this point of time, the only source of damage output that he has is only from the Brutalizer. I'm not sure if that is enough to take out anyone on the side of Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, that's right. QTV coming in with a vengeance here. Gonna try to deal it out with Prides, but having that on mill on the side on the Dragon itself is not gonna be helpful at all for QTV. He's gonna be speccing in for an additional amount of damage, has 231 damage to his name, has a little bit of AP as well to help with his Q. But outside of that, he isn't really able to kind of do it out with Prides at this point in time.
Right, so once again, Saigon Jokers wants to go for that siege on the mid lane once again. So it has been the story of this game. So 4-1 split pushing with QTV applying pressure up in the top lane, but it does feel like AHQ has very good response to that as well. So I guess it is once again the case of finding the picks and finding the mistakes. And now QTV gets into trouble here.
That's right, QTV will get pitted out. He does pop the Undying Rage. I don't think he'll be able to get out of that one. Naz is able to get the kill onto that one. I don't know why Price decided to use his Dragon's Descent, but at the same time, SAJ is able to kind of get the mid lane turret in response.
Right, it's almost like a reminiscence of the home guard strategy from Ozone in the Korean scene, where you have your top laner just constantly drawing people away from the rest of your team, and then let your teammates just grab a major objective after that. That is the story of this game here.
Do you just name a tactic home guard from Ozone's ex-top laner home?
Yeah. Wasn't it? It's called. Isn't it called home guard?
I don't know. Really? But that okay. That's cool. Something new I learned today. But yes, I mean QTV has always been that sort of player anyway.
Okay.
To draw some aggression onto him, and SAJ is able to pick up a turret from that one.
I'm looking at Price at this point in time. He has over 300 armor in this game.
Yeah.
That is so much armor.
That's right. So most of the damage threats coming in from SAJ in itself is something that, you know, you have to itemize for, and Pride decided that he wants to go in full armor because QTV has been building damage. Archie is one of the major damage threats, and at this point in time, having the having Optimus on the team, you're not able to kind of burst Shyvana down at this point of time. And anyway, most of the time, Price has been the one being sent to kind of deal with QTV. Once again, they're gonna go on to QTV, and that's gonna just, wow, he's just gonna try to deal it out against Westdaw. Westdaw nearly getting taken down there, and will he be able to get away? The ultimate is actually burned. He will flash in. The auto attack actually gets onto the turret in itself. Will QTV be able to get away from Price? Price does still have his burnout to come out. He will not be able to catch up onto QTV at this point of time. The flame breath does not able to hit, and at that point of time, SAJ decides to go for the Baron pickup. They will not be able to pick up the Baron just yet. Steal away from Nazit itself, and SAJ loses that Baron. Gets Scarlet Devil down extremely low. Junie gets taken down very low as well. Westdaw now gets hit by the Cocoon. He will go down. The shutdown goes to Optimus in itself, and now they turn and try to chase onto Greedy. Greedy wants some revenge, tries to take out Junie in response, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. Archie will pull off that buckshot and try to take that one out. So a little bit of a misplay coming from Saigon Jokers itself. I felt that Junie used the solar flare a little bit too early. They should have used it the moment that they knew that they had that damage spike to take down Barrett, and the moment Nas was actually stunned up, they didn't have that damage spike to be able to take down Baron yet, so Nas just jumped in and picked that one up. So that's a little bit of a reconciliation for the side of for the side of AHQ, but nevertheless SAJ still holds that 6,000 gold lead that we are talking about.
Right, and it's a little bummer for Saigon Jokers there because Safety wanted to turn and actually collapse onto AHQ Esports Club, but you know, Ness just found the opportunity to go for that Baron steal, and that definitely had to hurt and sting on the side of Saigon Jokers. But nevertheless, they did pick up that 3 kill as well, so the only 2 members on the side of HQ Esports Club with the Baron buff will be Guarded Devil and Pride as well. So let's see if they will be able to make anything out of this. We have HQ Esports Club gathering in the mid lane, and QTV once again being that split push menace that HQ Esports Club might have to look at and deal with.
Yeah, once again, Spies will be the one to blue pill back and try to respond to that one. Collateral damage used to stop the recall attempt here. So SAJ now wants to bring out the chase, because what AHQ needs at this point of time is to respond to this one, and QTV will probably pick up this inhibitor turret out of this one. Westdoor tries to flag in from behind, and QTV may decide to suicide. I don't know what he's trying to do here. He's just going to do it one-on-one with Westdoor. The pulverize will come up from Green Tea. QTV actually, they don't chase out to QTV.
Right. Oh, they do. Well, they do.
It's like QTV still going to stay on base? Nope.
Right, but in turn, Saigon Jokers, they will turn their attention down to the bottom lane, and with 4 members and with Archie having that static shift as well, they will be able to take out the bottom lane turret. So 7-3 in terms of turret count over here. So even though they got their Baron stolen in the process, they're still hanging on and clinging on to that goal lead over here. 6,000 still in their favor. So to be able to maintain the goal lead up to this point is very impressive play from Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, that's right. So now SAJ needs to recall, because what we have here is that AHQ will be kind of, they were thinking about going for the mid lane. It inhibits the turret but decide to rotate the dragon. So a little bit of a downtime once again, and with Baron already being taken out, or stolen actually I must say, by Nas in itself, I don't know what's the next objective that they're gonna go. Saigon Jokers have been making very good play calls. They've been sending QTV to alleviate some of the pressure, and if QTV alleviates some pressure, they will be able to take an objective. Either way, QTV has been doing very well this game.
Right, and you know, for all this time, he's not even going to go for any tanky builds whatsoever, because his job is very simple. He's kind of like the secret agent for Saigon Jokers over here. His job is just to move to one of the side lanes, apply pressure. Doesn't matter if you give up your life or not, but just buy time for the team, for them to take out a major objective. And it has worked out for them pretty well, but at the same time, HQ Esports Club, they have that 2 major objectives under the belt. They took away that Baron buff and that Baron goal away from Saigon Jokers, and then subsequently they took out the Dragon as well, and you know, they took it out about a minute ago, and it is a very valuable Dragon. You know, it gave each member 260 gold, and they were able to somewhat patch up the goal difference, so it's sitting at 5,000 at this point of time. But you know, they should be able to somewhat claw their way back into this game, but they still have to be very careful of this turret deficit that they are facing.
Yeah, that's right. And then we have Westdoor actually pulling out the Zonias, and a great explosive cast comes in. Westdoor being taken down by the explosive, not the explosive cast, but the collateral damage coming in. Green Tea there soaking up a lot of damage. Junie goes in, gets the stun off, doesn't get the stun off actually, and then we have the Mikhail's Crucible coming in for the side. Whoa, Price joins the fight from over the wall. You see the Dragon System pops the Red Wind's Omen. No one on SAJ has died just yet. safety now dealing it out of Daz, has taken out extremely low. Judy himself, Optimus on the sidelines. Pride's now going back into the fight. Now safety gets taken down low, throws the cocoon way up. Green Tea is now onto the sidelines, wants to chase onto these 4 retreating members of the Saigon Jokers. Baron is going to be up in another 2 minutes, and it does seem that both HQ and SAJ will walk away from that one, and that was an amazing fight from both teams.
Wow, Optimus timing that explosive cast as we take a look with the replay. See what exactly went down. So Westall here once again jumping into the fray, will have to pop that premature Zonias, I have to say, and then Optimus just timing the explosive cast also well, will knock Westall back into the team, and Westall will go down to the collateral damage there. Green Tea will actually soak up a lot of damage, and they tried to chase onto him there, and Saigon Jokers was a bit lost there, Price jumping into the fray there, and eventually they had to back off from there, and this was the other turning point as well. Ness taking up, applying a lot of pressure, so eventually won a 1-for-1 trade.
Yep, so basically 1-for-1, no objectives being taken by either team. This is gonna be a long game, Chris.
Oh yeah, it has always been a long game.
It's gonna be a long game.
These 2 teams, and I guess in a sense it's just between these 2 teams the understanding and the respect as well, and I guess that little bit of cautiousness as well, because they don't want to be making bad decisions that will cost them the game, like what we saw in game number 1. That was a disastrous result for Saigon Jokers over there, but this time around they have stepped up their gameplay and they are looking so dominating in this one. And once again, you know, it's coming to question what Ness had at this point of time. He does have that Last Whisper being completed already, but if he just went in for the assassin build, he might be able to clean up that team fight from what we saw in the mid lane portion for HQ Esports Club over there. So in that sense, not making full use of that assassination potential, but still doing pretty well for himself. So I mean, no disrespect to that.
Yeah, I really like the choice of lane that QTV is kind of choosing to push out at this point of time, because what we have here is that he wants to push out the lane that's furthest away from Baron. If he's able to drag more than 2 members, well, Junie getting taken out extremely low. I think West are able to take him out, and then the stun comes in from himself. He will be able to use the solar flare as well as the flash to get away from that one, and SAJ decides to start on the Baron a little bit, but will back off because they do collapse onto SAJ itself. With Junie so low and not having his solar flare at this point of time, it's going to be very scary. QTV onto the sidelines, might be taken out, gets the Undying Rage, will be forced to pop the Undying Rage at this point of time, and a great explosive cast now. Green Tea getting taken out extremely low. QTV will be the first one to get killed here. Westall jumps into the fray and just gets melted with the lockdown combo. Pride's now in the back line trying to zone as many members as much as possible, and will be forced to back off. Safety now onto the sidelines. Archie jumping out from the bushes and being able to get out a double kill. Now Safety will come in with the repel, and that's the end of that fight. So no Baron being taken out at that time, but HQ does lose 3 members. Nas as well as Gunner Devil, both one of the few main damage dealers on the team still alive. Will Nas be able to pull off another miracle? Smite coming into this game. He does not have vision of that one, and there we have just completely, wow, nearly the culling, nearly took out that one. Wow, Gunner Devil actually not moving that backstep and doesn't get hit by the explosive cast.
Mind games, man.
Mind games. The high next level mind games.
Right, so eventually it was a 2-for-4 exchange as we look at the replay of what exactly happened in the past minute. So at first it started out with QTV getting caught out a little bit, and the Undying Rage, I have to say, bought him so much time. And look at the burst damage coming in from Optimus. Ness has to leap away from all that, and Green Tea trying to buy some time for his teammate using the Pulverize. And Prides now joins the fray, will pick up the kill onto QTV there, and now Westall once again, I feel like he's almost being overly aggressive here, so he will go down to Optimus in the process. Prides now zoning away a couple of members of Saigon Jokers in the meantime, but he will take a lot of damage in return, and now safety will be the one to lock him down into place. And there we go with the double kill coming in from Arjun, and that will end the team fight there. And really, you know, in a sense, Resdor, he is not finding the right engages. You know, at this point of time, he did pretty well in the early game, but all these little, you know, rift walks that he has been using, just manages to find himself in a position where he can't really capitalize, and in turn he will get caught out maybe with a cocoon or even with one of those explosive cars to just lock him into place, and that's not a position where you really want to be in.
Yeah, I really like the play calling coming from SAJ in that fight. They knew that QTV got caught out of position, and they just went, okay, pop your Undying Rage, we'll win this one. And Optimus pulled off a clutch, a very, very good explosive cars coming into that fight, and they just kind of, you know, zoned out and tried to juggle a lot of the damage very well. And yes, you're right, Westdall hasn't been making some of the best play calls coming into game number 2. He is on Cassidy, he did very well in the early stages of the game, but he's choosing very bad times to go into a team fight. Who rift walks into 4 members of the team when the rest of the team isn't anywhere near the vicinity to kind of back you up?
I have to answer Westdall.
Okay. I hope he doesn't do that again.
Well, yeah, they definitely need to be careful of this one. And now Saigon Jokers, with the Baron buff up their sleeve, they have the resources to siege up this top lane. There we go now, Junie jumping into the fray.
That's right, so I don't think any fight, no, I don't need to think, definitely no fight gonna happen at this point of time. SAJ will start to rotate now. They have a big minion wave to clear out in this mid lane. Yes, like you said, they have the Baron buff. They have a 9,000 gold lead at this point of time, and I still think it's anyone's game to win, because one good initiation from Green Tea into a hitbuff pulverized, and Price going in with the Dragon's Descent is going to be extremely scary.
Yeah, but once again, is it going to be too little too late? Because, you know, like I mentioned, Ness does not necessarily have the damage potential to assassinate anyone at this point of time. And with Safety actually finishing up all these tanky items on his own, and it's going to be one extremely tough spider to try to smack out.
Yeah, I don't know who can smack it out, because I think the one person that's just gonna smack the life out of AHQ in the team fight is gonna be Optimus. The explosive cars have been extremely on point this game, and what we have here is that SAJ, or at least Optimus, really making the play calls. It just makes me wonder who's the team captain. It does seem like Optimus has been the one to, you know, just say go, blows the explosive cars or even the shockwave in game number 1, and immediately they turn around the team fight.
Right, and you also have QTV being the unfortunate sacrifice for the team to just buy time.
And speak of the devil, QTV once again being this quote-unquote distraction, I feel, game number 2.
He is the distractor, and not only the distractor as well, because they can't just leave QTV alone. In the sense, if you just go for SAJ there, then QTV will be the one to push down your turret, and he does have the necessary resources to do so as well. And now we do see this stream of super minions pushing up the top wave as well.
Yeah, and speaking of super minions, I don't know whether they're going to team fight anytime soon, but the changes in the 3.15 patch has made the super minion buff to the lane minions stronger, giving them additional 70% attack damage as well as 70 bonus armor and magic resist. So having that additional quote-unquote aura on the super minions to the lane minions in itself is going to be extremely helpful, and they will definitely need to deal with this onslaught of big waves coming in.
Right, and now with all these resources on their end, Saigon Jokers just slowly and steadily just taking bits and pieces of damage away from the turret. There we go with their engage.
Yeah, and there we have a great AoE cluster by AHQ. This is what they were looking for. Archie gets exhausted. I don't know if they will be able to do anything in that fight at that point of time. Nas gets taken out extremely low. The flash comes out. right into the face of Nazin itself. He does manage to pick up QTV now, trying to go in all the way. He does have his undying rage at this point of time. He wants to try to deal it out. He's choosing whether he wants to run away or continue to fight this one, but it does seem that ahq gets the better of this one, gets an ace. The very first ace of the game, 45 minutes into this match itself. The Baron will respawn in 90 seconds, so the death timers are sufficient enough for ahq to be kind of for both SAJ and ahq to contest that Baron. We do have ahq kind of go up to this mid lane and try to take this one out, and while they do that, let's take a look at the last fight.
Right, so it all started out with, Optimus not finding the position that he wants to fight, jumping into the fray with a very good Dragon's Descent, and the Carling taking some damage onto Junie over there, and once again Optimus getting chumped down almost immediately, but everyone just jumping into the fray here. Westlaw still very healthy in this one, so in that sense that was the right call to go in, and that's with the assassination onto RG over there, and Gunner Devil will pick up the kill onto safety, and that was just a delayed ace attempt there, and QTV right here with 3 members that he was able to escape in that one. And fortunately for Saigon Jokers, at least they had that top lane super minions pushing into the base and knocking on the doors of ahq Esports Club. If not, I would have to say there was that risk of game 1 just repeating itself.
That's right. So what we have here from SAJ at this point of time is that they lose the mid lane inhibitor. That's not going to be too bad, because losing the side lane inhibitor is a little bit more potent than a mid lane one, and it does seem that SAJ going to be very confident of either lying in wait for the Baron in itself or just dealing as much damage as possible. I mean, QTV has a Blade of Ring King Static Shift, Last Whisper, as well as the Infinity Age on top of the Mercurial Scimitar. He's a 6-item Tryndamere at this point of time. That's going to easily take down Baron. And then we have the Initiate onto Gunner Devil. Gunner Devil gets stunned up. He will use that Relentless Pursuit as well as the Culling to try to do as much poke damage as possible. Westlaw is actually the one, he's trying to pull off a little bit of an X-Packet here. I mean, there's the Nexus turrets are still up at this point of time, but he's been sent on that little split push mission to try to deal and try to kind of refocus SAJ's priorities a little bit.
I would say if he does pull it off, it would be so apt as well, because he's on Gasset in that aspect.
That's right, the initiation comes in front to Prize. He pops the randomist Omen and catches 3 people off guard. We do have Optimus on the sidelines, a great set in play. Should manage to lock up Prize, but the Solar Flare only managed to get the slow onto both Gunner Devil and Green Tea. The Cocoon will be able to land onto Green Tea as well, but it does seem that both SAJ and ahq will back off from this one. SAJ taken out extremely low. ahq maybe thinking about the Baron now, but they do see SAJ, or they don't see SAJ, they at least sense SAJ coming in from the sides, and they're not going to do much at this point of time. They want to risk a 50-50 Baron chance.
Right, very close calls for both teams at this point of time, and once again, it does look like at this point of time, ahq, they are having the advantages on their own end, because they managed to take out the mid lane inhibitor. That will put on some good amount of pressure onto Saigon Jokers. So just 15 minutes into this game, Saigon Jokers still sitting on a good 7,000 advantage, but it's at a point where it's not going to be meaning too much, because most of the squad of ahq Esports Club have finished up their major items, so it's going to be down to the decision calling, play calling, that's going to affect the result of this game.
Yeah, the 7,000 gold at this point of time does give Optimus 1 Guardian Angel up from Westlaw, but I think this recall will allow Westlaw to pick up his Guardian Angel of his own, and it does seem that we will be reaching the point of the game where we start stacking as many Guardian Angels as possible.
The many lives of the League of Legends player. Yeah, Guardian Angel respawn as well.
It's gonna be so scary. So what we have here is SAJ just pushing that minion wave, the lane in which they have their inhibitor down. So it's just gonna be a push-pull factor coming in. They once again send QTV onto that little split push route, and it does seem that they're just gonna dance around in the top as well as the mid lane. until one team decides to be a little bit confident to go for the Baron attempt in itself. So it's just gonna be a little waiting game, and you know, Wild West showdown, they're just gonna stare each other down until someone decides to pull the trigger.
So this is the staring down phase, the waiting game to see who is the first one to make the moves, to pull out the gun and to pull out the trigger in that sense.
Yeah, the inhibitor is now up on the side of Saigon Jokers, so that's gonna alleviate some of the pressure in itself, and this is the point of time in which SAJ, so far according to how the game has been flowing, will make the play, because now the pressure has kind of gone down because the inhibitor is already back up. So what we have here is SAJ may want to decide to do something. But the problem is that Pride is a complete counter to what QTV is at this point of time. Look at that. QTV takes more damage from his own auto attack than what Pride is actually doing, or than what he's actually doing to Pride. So
wow, and
QTV taken down extremely low, yeah, and Ignite will not be able to take him down. He does have Wester on the sideline trying to assassinate him right off the bat, but it does seem that, you know, SAJ has no answer to what Pride is able to do against QTV at this point in time.
But it's almost like the tide is turning on them. Even though they are the ones with the goal advantage, HQ Esports Club, they are putting them into positions where they can't really make the best decisions out of it. They have to lose something. They, you know, if you look at the movement of Saigon Jokers for the past minute, they are just a little lost. They don't really know what to do, and in turn we did see Nas pick up the Dragon in the process as well, so that will close up the goal gap just a little bit. But in the sense, like we mentioned, at this point of time, this late into the game, all this little goal lead is not gonna be affecting both teams too much, because most of the major items are already being already completed in that sense. And I think BT has a very interesting item. He has finished up the Frozen Heart, so that's in respect to QTB in that sense, so he won't be able to chunk him down as quickly as he would want to.
Yeah, no, that Frozen Heart does reduce the attack speed of nearby enemies, and that's going to help with both QTV as well as RG coming into the team fight phase especially.
Right, so we are back into the phase of the game where they're just moving around the Baron Pit as well, so they're not going to be risking too much in the process here, but it's going to be the first team to find the advantage. And once again, is it going to be up to SAJ, because in the last game, they were the ones who, you know, found themselves in a very peculiar position, and that allowed HQ Esports Club to pick up the kill, pick up the kill actually over Optimus, and then eventually pick up the game.
One misstep will cost the game from either team.
So much tension.
You know what we should do? We should just keep quiet until the until the team fight breaks out, and let's see how many minutes of silence we'll get out from both teams.
I can tell you it's gonna be very, very long.
How long? Let's guess when the next team fight will come out. No, let's not play that game.
Let's not
play that game. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Oh my god, that would be, you know, that would be terrible, because it will take a long time, because they, like we mentioned, they don't want to risk it. And just for information for our viewers out there, the 4th position for the Garena Premier League winter season will bring home 15,000 cash prize. So not too bad, but there is a $10,000 difference. So
the 3rd place team is going to bring back 25,000 US dollars, huh?
Yeah, so a lot of money.
I don't know. I think it's more about the pride in this point of time.
Right, no need the pride, the money as well. I mean, look at it, it's $10,000 difference, man.
I remember we've had this conversation before, Chris, so I'm not going to bring it up again.
Dude, the money, man. The money in the bank.
Okay, the money in the bank indeed. So here we have HQ for the first time actually going in on the aggression here. West up pops his Zonias, maybe a little bit too early, but this time Optimus doesn't get that clutch. Oh, we see that a little bit of a movement coming in from the Zonias as well. Optimus taken out extremely low. The Guardians Angels will be popped. QTV is on the sidelines now. Archie being taken out very low. Optimus will go down first. Archie taken out extremely low. The Guardians Angel will pop. QTV will go down. It does seem that AHQ will win this team fight, and they should be able to take the game out of this one. Safety will be the next one to fall. I don't know how effective it's going to be. He tries to actually get onto Wester one auto attack. Wessel still has his guardian angel up, and only Junie is alive on the side of Saigon Jokers. So 2 minutes of silence. If you actually kept silent there from the 53-minute mark when I asked you that question, it does seem that ahq will take game number 2. SAJ.
What does it feel like? I've seen that happen before.
I don't know. Maybe we should look at game 1 again.
And oh my gosh, that's the ace for ahq Esports Club. They turn the game around once more. They will come up victorious in game number 2 as they